My head has been glued in NFL free agency, and Juju Smith-Schuster has returned to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wanted to see buy or sell with what that team is, at least now in Pittsburgh. I don't think they would win the division, but I want to see if you guys buy or sell for Pittsburgh to win the division.
I would sell it just because I don't know what Big Ben is going to be able to do this year. I think he's going to be serviceable. I certainly don't think they're going to jump out to an 11-0 start like they did this past year. I think they'll do well. I mean, I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs by any means. But I'll sell it. I don't think they win the division just because of quarterback play.
Yeah, how about Juju? I mean,
Yeah.
he comes back for a year on $8 million. And apparently he turned down a huge offer from the Ravens.
Yeah, because it allows the Pittsburgh to offer him a massive contract the year after, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess he's good with sticking around. I mean, I know he said he would love to end his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler, but like, dude, I think that with how young he is and the production that he's brought to what he's done in the slot and everything like that, he's a guy that could fit in on a lot of teams. I mean, they need a receiver like that, and you would be on a team with a better chance at being a quarterback. However, I understand. Here's a better quarterback. Here's what I get, though, about the Ravens thing. It goes back to what I've said over and over. Receivers don't want to play in Baltimore's offense. They don't, because they don't get a lot of catches. I mean, Marquise Brown is one of the guys that when he came over there, I was like, man, I'm not sure if he's ever going to have a chance to take off because of the type of offense that they run. Juju's the same way. I just think there were other offers on the table. I mean, he was one of the highly sought-after receivers here in free agency, and he's like, you know what? Let me just take my chance here one more year with Big Ben. Whatever happens, happens, and then after that, whatever quarterback is up after him, we'll figure something out or I'll move on. So
I would have to think that Pittsburgh management is probably sitting down with Juju saying, listen, we got one more year with Big Ben. We are going to spend this entire year figuring out cap. We're going to try to figure out scholarships. We're going to try to figure out salary numbers, and we're going to try to bring in a top-tier quarterback the year after Big Ben retires.
Well, and part of the reason, too, you guys remember, he was openly, telling everybody, hey, look, I miss being on the outside.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love being a slot guy. He was an outside guy before the NFL, and when he came in, Antonio Brown was that guy, and he kind of had to take over inside, and he said he's obviously looked good, but he's been uncomfortable. He wants to go deep down the field. Big Ben isn't the guy, though, that's going to go deep down the field and hit you on. If you look back at what they did all last year, they were doing, the routes were at the sticks. That was it. I'm not saying Big Ben doesn't have the ability occasionally to go deep, but 20-plus yards multiple times in a game, I'm not counting on it. So it's an interesting signing for Juju to come back because I would have had to thought he turned down a lot of money, with the Ravens. And I get why he did, seriously, I understand. But other teams, I would think that were after him is kind of surprising. So Pittsburgh winning it, I think the Browns are really competitive. I really, really do.
Yeah.
To me, they have the best shot of winning the division. I know the Ravens will probably find themselves in the playoffs. I don't think they win the division, though. The Browns are as complete of a team as you would actually think that you're going to find right now. I'm still kind of bullish on Baker Mayfield, and there's times last year that the Browns probably thought he actually threw it more than they wanted him to throw the football, if we're being completely honest. But they had that two-headed monster in the backfield, which they still have. They've got receivers that are legitimate, and then the defense, as we know, and the offensive line. I mean, you've got everything you need. Kevin Stefanski did a great job until the playoffs, where he coached him out of it, and the Chiefs lost there. But
it's wild it's wild to hear management and the coaching staff upset at an NFL quarterback for throwing the ball too much. The hell are you doing,
But
Baker?
Baker would be the guy because of how well they run it.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, man, because
we're not paying you to throw the ball.
As I said, a good defense and a good running game has to be there for Baker Mayfield to succeed. And when that is going on, they're like, okay, this means that he doesn't have to throw it all that much. But when he does, he's more comfortable because he's not having to have a huge workload out there. But he made the plays that counted last year. So I'm more sold in on the Browns here, Levi, than I am on the Steelers. So I'll sell that they win.
Yeah, I'm selling as well, mainly not only because of the Browns, since they will be getting back Odell Beckham, and I know people are wondering if Odell's eventually going to get traded. The thing is, if you're wanting Baker to get more comfortable, get Odell back. That's your number one wide receiver, and I know Jarvis Juice Landry is also very good, but I feel I like him a lot better as a 2 and Odell at the 1. But also, I'm really looking at Baltimore to step up again. Lamar Jackson finally won his first playoff game, and it finally got that burden off his shoulder. Now I think you're about to see a new type of Lamar Jackson. And yes, they are a very run-heavy offense. And the reason the pass game's not that good is the wide receivers really aren't that good. Because Mark Hollywood Brown is not a number one. No way near anywhere close to it. He's like a number 3 type guy. Devin Duvernay is not that either. So you need to find a number 1 wide receiver. And with my next buy or sell, I think you might have found it. But I don't give Pittsburgh the chances. They've also lost a lot of other pieces in free agency, so I'm selling.
I'm sorry. I feel like winning a league MVP should be enough to rise you to another level, not winning a playoff game.
I don't know. The way that people are around not only like the sports world, but I know Patrick was really harping at Lamar Jackson for not winning a playoff game.
I absolutely was. I mean, I thought that was part of the issue.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But I just feel like if you're a quarterback, like your one hang-up shouldn't be a playoff. Like, oh, I've won an MVP. Like, you should already be at that level.
Well, and part of it was because of the lack of the passing attack, which like we talked about. You know, he won the MVP and he played really well that season. But he got that game, which you go back, you watch that win against the Titans. Look, a lot of the Tennessee Titans, yes, Lamar played well, but they coached themselves out of that game so bad. I mean, it was unbelievably bad coaching in that game, and Ryan Tannehill wasn't going to be able to come back. The defense shut down Derrick Henry. There's a lot of factors why they won that game. It wasn't necessarily all Lamar. I give him credit for doing what he did. But that division is interesting. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday. OBJ went off on a tweet storm in the middle of the day, throwing I know, right? Yeah, throwing out a bunch of stuff, and the Browns played fine without him. I don't think he's even going to be a huge X factor on this team going forward because they showed they don't need him. But it will be interesting to see what that division pans out. I think there's a lot of competitive squads in there right now. The Browns, they needed to take that step, and let's not forget about the Bengals. I think they're going to be on the rise before it's all said and done with the quarterbacks and possibly receivers they're going to be having on that team. So watch out for them too.
I'm actually going to stick over in Baltimore. I was hinting a little bit towards it. There's another guy that is in the running for potentially going to Baltimore, and that is Kenny Golladay. He has been, looks like, been having a meeting over there with the Baltimore front office. So I'm going to buy or sell for y'all. Kenny Golladay will be going to the Baltimore Ravens.
I love Kenny Golladay. I think he is right up there with probably the most talented of the free agent wide receivers right now. He's up there with them, and I think that he's a stud. He even showed it in Detroit, where it wasn't easy to necessarily be a stud receiver. Now, Matt Stafford went to him a lot, but in that offense, I mean, my gosh, you were having to catch up all the time. But I really think he could be a big addition to any team. I'm gonna sell because with his talent, and they might pitch him, a really great. Greg Roman might say, "Hey, man, I know we haven't thrown the ball that much, but you know what? You come over. We haven't had anybody like you. You come over, and Lamar's going to air it out to you all the time. We're going to pass it, and you're going to have a great." And how much is he going to buy into that? I think, if I remember correctly, the Giants were in talks with them too, which again, Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's like, where do I want to go there? So I'm going to sell. I just don't think that the Ravens right now are going to be able to draw, and Juju is a good example. High talent receivers until they prove that they're going to be able to throw the ball, and that includes with what they have right now. And I'm sorry, but that includes with Marquise Brown. I know he's not a number one, but he hasn't done himself any favors with the way he's played at times before too. So I'm going to sell. I think Kenny ends up. I don't know exactly where. It's tough for me to decide yet where he's going to go, but I can't wait to see it, Levi, because I think he's the top receiver available right now.
Sure, yeah, I'll agree with everything you just said. I'll sell it. I'll throw a little caveat out there though, that if he does sign with Baltimore, it's because Juju opened the door for a rather sizable contract.
He's Kenny Galladay's going to get paid wherever he goes. I mean, that's no doubt.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to buy. I think he's going to sign with Baltimore because if you look at the two other teams that are in the signing, the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. Chicago Bears, 1,000,000%. They're going to have a hard time making the playoffs. Giants, yes, Kenny Golladay going there, it's the game changer right there. That might actually put them and help them get over the Washington football team. But goodness, I believe it's been every year Lamar's been in the league, they've been in the playoffs. They have had a fighting shot every single year to make it further. And by getting Kevin Zeitler at the right guard, they are literally a wide receiver away from finally having a game-changing roster again. And that's the main thing, is these guys that they've had in wide receivers, they've been placed in the wrong spots. And even though Lamar Jackson sometimes has been iffy in the passing game, he doesn't have the weapons to truly expand the passing game. Hollywood is a speed guy. He's your slot guy. Devin Duvernay doesn't know what he is right now. You need a guy who knows he can be a dominant number one. And in this spot, Kenny Golladay will play a number one. With New York, he will play a number one, but I don't trust Daniel Jones with anything. And over in Chicago, I don't trust Andy Dalton. I've seen it firsthand. The Ravens are the best spot.
That's the problem. Right, but that's the problem with receivers is that if you ask the best receivers in the league, guess what they're going to tell you if they were being completely honest? They want catches.
Yeah.
I mean, they want catches more than winning. They want catches on the stat sheet. They want to get in the end zone. That's more than winning the Super Bowl. That's more than winning games. And I think Kenny Golladay would be the same way. I want to catch the ball. Can Lamar Jackson, will he throw me the football? Will we even get that opportunity to throw it that much? So I understand why, I agree. There may be a receiver away from being really, really good. But are they a quarterback away from being really, really good? I just think it's a fair question. Real quick, I do mine. We'll get out of here. Buy or sell that the Washington football team wins the NFC East with the addition they just made there. They have Terry McLaurin now, of course, wide receiver. They just got Curtis Samuel, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Taylor Heineke will be the quarterback. But do they win that division?
It's gonna be. I don't think the division will be as crappy as it was this past year. I think if Dak can stay healthy down in Dallas, then I think that's a bit of a game changer. I think that'll be that's the difference right there. I think Dak is more of a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I'll sell it. I don't think Dallas is going to win it, but I think Dallas is going to be enough to keep Washington from winning it.
Unfortunately for my soul, I'm buying it. Football team is the best team in the division by far. Football team with that defense. The front seven, goodness, is immaculate. They did end up losing Ronald Darby, but they replaced that with William Jackson. And I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the perfect quarterback because when you play him, he's still good enough to win you a couple games, and then he's also good enough to help train the next guy because I think if Washington football's team is smart, they're still taking a quarterback in the draft, and that's going to be a great pairing because it's a one-year deal for Ryan Fitzpatrick. You finally got a person to go right next to Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, former college roommates, so that's perfect. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to buy. I'm going to have it be a football team taking it up a notch and still winning the division.
I'm doing the same thing, and I'll make my answer short and sweet. I think they're the best team right now. They're our quarterback away from being really, really good. I don't know what Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to bring to the table. I love the signing of Curtis Samuel. He's going to fit excellent in that offense. He and Scary Terry are a scary duo, and I can't wait to watch what they do. Solid running game. The defense is incredible, and that division's wide open. So I think they're going to get it done.